In this video, I'm going to show you how to get up and running with Synthflow by building an AI receptionist for a golf club. First, I want to talk a little bit about why Synthflow and how it compares against tools like Vapi and Retell AI, because Synthflow has been making a lot of changes over the last few months that seem to be emulating those other tools. Interestingly, if you look at Google Trend data and you go back a year, you can see that Retell AI and Synthflow were pretty much neck and neck, and over 2025, that changed considerably. Retell AI massively pulled forward, became very, very popular, while Synthflow kind of slipped behind. And what I've observed is some of the big changes that we're seeing in Synthflow seem to be kind of trying to catch up, which makes total sense. So for example, Synthflow massively changed their pricing last month. Previously, they were one of the only voice AI tools where you could pay a fixed monthly amount for, whereas they've now kind of moved to this typical pick and mix approach where you pay based on the text-to-speech model, the speech-to-text model, LLM, which is a really good thing, frankly, because this often works out way cheaper than if you just pay a fixed amount and have wastage. So that's a good thing. Also, Synthflow have just released their visual workflow builder. I have used it. It's still a little bit clunky, so I'm still preferring to use Synthflow for building single prompt agents, which I'll walk through in a moment. But this is a really good step forward. When this works, which I'm sure by the time this video goes live, it will be much better. This is going to make the voice AI agents in Synthflow so much better because rather than having one massive prompt that has to be sent with every call to the AI model, you can break the prompt up into lots of different steps, giving each step the context that it needs, which is going to reduce your latency and make the voice AI agent much better, much faster, less latency, all the good things. So this is a step in the right direction. It's just the UX is kind of a little bit buggy at the moment. For example, if I want to kind of add a split here, there is no way of doing it. It says not available from start node. Little things like that. But overall, Synthflow is still incredibly easy to use and a really good option if you're building single prompt agents. So with all that said, if you want to see if Synthflow is right for you, you can go to voiceai.guide and just enter your information, how many calls you're going to have, what features and integrations you need, and it will tell you the breakdown and the comparison. This is a tool that I built to make this kind of way easier. But assuming that Synthflow is the right choice for you, we're going to go ahead and build our AI receptionist. So once you've created your Synthflow account, you'll end up on a dashboard like this. And just to explain a few things that we've got going on here, this is the agents tab where you can see all different voice AI agents that you've built and create a new one, which we'll do in a second. Then we have the knowledge base where you can upload documents, PDFs that your agents can reference on the calls. Next, we have actions. So if you want your agent to be able to, for example, add information to a CRM or send SMS, make bookings in a calendar, you can connect that here. You will need to set up an integration first, which we will do later in the video. We're going to set this up with cow.com. Then the only other thing that I will touch on is phone numbers. So unlike tools like Vapi and Retell, where you get a test number to work with Synthflow, you have to buy a phone number that you can use to test your agent, which is a bit annoying, but it only costs like $1.50 a month. So I'm just going to do that now because we're going to need to have a phone number that we can use to test our agents. So I'm just going to go for the first number that it gives me here, acknowledge. And I'm currently on the pay-as-you-go plan, so this will just add this to my bill. So we've now got that phone number and we can use that for testing. So I'm going to go back to agents and we're going to click create a new agent. And you can see here that we've got a few options. We can either browse some of the templates. The templates in Synthflow are really good. So if you have a specific use case, it's definitely worth looking through these. But in this case, I'm going to create one from scratch. So we're going to go through, not going to use the flow designer as mentioned. So we're going to go for the prompt builder and we're going to create our agent. So that'll take you to this page where you can change the prompt and the settings for the voice AI agent. So first thing I'm going to do is just replace the default prompt that it's given us with one that I've created for our golf AI receptionist. So I'm saying you're Ethan, a customer service assistant for a golf club, giving it some information on persona, speaking style, turn taking, how to ask questions, how to manage the call, etc. And then I'm giving it some more specific information on how to manage tea time bookings. So currently I've just got a placeholder here for actions. We're going to set up actions in a moment. But we're basically saying if a user wants to book a tea time, we need to check availability on a calendar. And if the time is available, then we want to go ahead and make that booking and communicate that back to the caller. If not, 2 or 3 other times should be suggested. And we need to collect some information like phone number, name, whether they want to do 9 or 18 holes, etc. So it's fairly detailed. What I would always recommend is spending some time with ChatGPT or Claude, going back and forward to refine the prompt for your agent to make it as good as possible, because the quality of your voice AI agent is largely going to come down to the quality of your prompts. So I mentioned that I put in a few placeholders here for actions. We now need to go and set up an integration and configure some actions for making real-time bookings. So next we're going to go over to actions, which is this one here, and we're going to create a real-time booking. Now you can see I've already got cal.com selected here. I've already connected my API key in the integrations. This is pretty straightforward to do. You just go to the API key page on cal.com, which is in settings, create a new API key, and then you just drop it in on Synthflow. So once you've done that, you need to get an event ID from cal.com. So to get your event type ID, you can just click on the event in cal.com and you can see it's in the URL here. So you can just copy that like that, drop that in there like that, click next. So that's created an action. We can kind of go and tweak some of the settings for that later, but for now, that should be fine. So now if we go back to our agent, we should have the option to add that action from the sidebar. So now if we click on actions, we can see during the call, we currently have no actions enabled for this agent. If we click add and select the real-time booking, we should have the option, here we go, to select this. And that now gives this agent the ability to use that action during the call. So now in our prompt, what I'm going to do is just say, when the caller wants to book a tea time, use calcom_4129212 to book a tea time on the calendar. So before we give this a live test run, we're just going to go through some of the global settings and just see how this is set up. So this is good. GPT 4.1 is usually my go-to for voice AI agents. It's generally the best balance between cost, latency, and quality. I have said that this guy is called Ethan, so I'm not going to use Jessica. We're just going to change that to Dave, the Australian male. So we'll save that. We don't need any additional knowledge, so we can leave that. So that's all looking good to me for an initial test run. I'm sure we're going to have a couple of issues and a couple of bumps, but always good to kind of test as we go. So I'm now going to run a little test and see what we've got. Okay, so it's calling my phone. I'm just going to answer, put it on speaker.
Hey, you've called to company. How may I assist you today?
I'm looking to book a tea time.
Great. Just to check, are you in the Europe-Berlin time zone? And would you like to book for yourself or a group?
No, I'm in London and yeah, booking for 2 people.
Thanks for letting me know you're in London and booking for 2. I'll use the London time zone for your reservation. Would you like to play 9 or 18 holes? And do you have a preferred day, or should I suggest some upcoming options?
9 holes, and ideally today, this afternoon, maybe like 2 o'clock.
We don't have a 2 o'clock slot today, but there is an opening at 3 p.m. for 9 holes. Would you like to book that?
Yep, that sounds good.
You're all set for 9 holes at 3 p.m. today for 2 people. Is there anything else I can help you with?
No, that's all good. Thank you. So as expected, a few bits of weird behavior, asking me about my time zone being in Berlin, and some of the bits are a little bit unnatural, but we can obviously iron that out. But the main thing that I was unsure whether it was actually going to work or not is making the booking on cal.com, and it did that perfectly. You can see it's made a booking here for 3 o'clock today for 9 holes at a golf club. So that's perfect. The hard bit it's doing well. Now we just need to go and polish the prompt up a little bit. So the first problem is that it started the phone call by saying, hey, you've called company. So I missed changing that here, but we need to just replace that with something like Oakwood Park Golf Club. How can I help you? Then the next thing is that it was asking me if I was in Berlin and repeatedly asking what my time zone was. So what I'm going to do, I believe in Synthflow, you can just give it the time zone. So you can just say, use Europe, London as the time zone, and do not ask the caller for their time zone. So hopefully that should get rid of those issues. Now, the only other major thing that was a bit of an issue is we got quite a lot of latency and long pauses, which is not ideal. Now, the ideal way to fix this would be to make this prompt a bit more efficient and kind of break out certain parts. If we were using the flow designer, this would probably shave off a fair bit of latency. I'm not going to spend too much time doing that in this video. Obviously, the other option we have is we could change the AI model to something a bit snappier. But personally, I prefer, particularly if I'm building something for production, to focus on getting the prompt a bit tighter. But I'm not going to do that in this video just because this is kind of just a demo. So let's save that and see what we get now.
Oakwood Park Golf Club, how can I help?
Hi, I'd like to book a tea time on Thursday.
Great. Just to confirm, you're looking to book a tea time for this Thursday, January 8th. Does the Europe-London time zone work for you? We have slots available at 9 a.m., 12 p.m. and 3 p.m. Which time would you prefer?
Yeah, that time zone works for me. Let's go 12 p.m.
Perfect. I'll book you in for Thursday, January 8th at 12 p.m. Could I get your full name, please?
Yeah.
And will this be for 9 or 18 holes? Also, how many players should I reserve for?
9 holes, 2 people, and my name is Marcus. Hey, that's booked.
Hey Marcus, your tea time for 2 people, 9 holes, is all set for Thursday at 12 p.m. Is there anything else I can help you with today?
No, that's all good.
All right, Marcus, if you need anything else later, just give us a call. Have a great round on Thursday. Take care.
Cheers. Bye. Okay, that was much better. Obviously, a few areas that are still a bit clunky, like asking about the time zone, and the latency is still not quite where I'd like it to ideally be. Now, if I was building this for production, I'd spend a bit of time kind of tweaking that. In the additional settings over here, you can sort of play around with latency optimization. This is always going to be a trade-off. So the more that you optimize the latency, the more you're going to notice a degradation on the quality. So you have to kind of play around and test this back and forward, doing lots of calls to work out where you get the right balance between quality, latency, and cost as well. So I'm not going to do that here. Now, obviously you could take this, you could extend it in lots of different directions to handle lots of different use cases. But as a kind of a quick demo of how to get up and running in Synthflow and build a simple voice AI agent, hopefully this has been useful. Any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.